Hello and welcome back everyone for game 2 from the best of 3 between ASG, Nadir, and MVP. As you can see, MVP is our pink Zerg player in the top right spawning positions of Shakura's Plateau, and this Perth Barcraft has been going on for quite a few months now. I believe since the beginning of December, so of 2012, and that means that about 2 months Shakura's was still kind of in the rotation for some tournaments. This is a fairly old map, but we do see spawns that are in the cross position. So down in the bottom left we're going to have ASG Nadir. He was actually the loser of the last game, but it was quite an epic one. We almost got all the way to HiveTech actually finished for both players, and we almost got to see probably Broodlord army with just Broodlings killing each other infinitely. Probably looking to see another standard game. These players both seem to be fairly macro-oriented in their style. They do not tend to cheese very often. They seem like they just like to macro, do little pokes and prods here and there, and try and seize any advantage that they can gather. Gonna see a 15 pool out of both players, it looks like. And I'm assuming that they're going to follow this up with a 15 expansion. We will see, though, one of them might choose to go gas, possibly. First, just to stay a little bit more safe, or get up some ling speed. And we did see a cancel there, so I'm not really sure what that was about. Maybe he realized he did need to get up his expansion, and we do see both players actually going for an expansion, so there is going to be not much of a gas advantage for either player. Should not see any sort of crazy bling action early on. Gas still not taken by MVP, and interested to see if he's going to go for some sort of like gasless Zerg play where basically you just get out a bunch of queens early on to defend, then you take double gas or even all 4 gases at one time. That way you can just really start sucking it in. No, he is just going to go for a late extractor. So this is going to allow Nadir to have a little bit of a timing window where he will have speed and probably banelings before speed even kicks in for MVP, which might be able to snag him this second game so we can push this best of 3 to the third and final match. He has gathered more than 50 gas, so he's not going to go Baneling Nest first, as is typical. Probably just going to see speed, some queens. I would be interested to see if one of these players decides to not go Roach, Hydra, and Fester, as in ZVZ I do prefer to go for a little bit more of Mutalisk pressure, just like the map control that Mutalisks kind of give you. And you can also pick off, especially in ZVZ, a ton of Overlords, as we see them all over the place. If green Nadir were to go for mutas per se, that's 3 Overlords out there already. Spinecrawler coming down, metabolic boost started for both players. We do have a supply block from Nadir, and he might have, yes, it does look like he got a Overlord sniped at the natural. Baneling Nest coming down from both players. Just droning up, trying to get their economy together. We'll most likely see some Zerglings, a couple Banelings, but they're probably just going to try to go into the Roach play. This map does have a fairly large open area in the center, and even out near the ramps of the naturals, where you can see some extremely large concaves occurring. We have an Evo chamber up here. He might be trying to make a partial wall off so he can just block with the queen, just to eliminate any sort of ling run-bys. We do see 2 lings coming out. Speed already done for our green player. Speed about to finish for MVP, and yes, he needs to make sure that these banelings are split up and well controlled so this one Zergling does not cost him some gas. Just gets in there, gets a quick scout on the amount of drones available. +1 range coming out from Nadir, so he is clearly going roaches. He's going to take 2 more gas, and his gas in his main as well layer coming out for both players. All 4 gas up for MVP as well. An Evo chamber, and that did look like a little bit of a misclick there from MVP. He cost himself just a little bit of mining time, but not a huge issue. And there is the Roach Warren. We also have a Roach Warren coming out of MVP, so this is just going to be another Roach on Roach battle. No Mutalisks, sad face. Pretty nice wall off here, just to prevent any sort of really good Ling run-bys. Oh, and good, he did have nice control on those Banelings, just making sure that they're not going to waste their detonation on one Zergling. We do see a Spire coming out, and I'm kind of confused by this, to be honest. Typically, if you're going to go for Spire play, you don't get a Roach Warren this early. You do not get +1 attack, as that is some gas invested that could be used for more Mutalisks. His Spinecrawler was attacking his own hatchery? Oh no, there was a changeling there. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. We do see a third coming out of MVP, a few more Banelings. Infestation Pit from both, so Nadir really investing in just about every single type of tech, and he actually canceled the Spire as it was spotted by the Overseer, and that's going to delay his mid-game even more, as the Infestation Pit we can see is already done and Pathogen Glands has actually started. Galero Reconstitution for both players is on the way. We do see a third in response from Nadir. Tiny little engagement here, but Roaches do handle Zerglings quite well, especially with Banelings as their support. Queens making their ever so slow Trove out. And a huge Ling run by here. He does get 2 good Baneling detonations, but there are still quite a lot of Lings up in the base. He's going to try and snipe down this spawning pool, and it does look like he's just, well, throwing away those Lings. He does not get really anything. We'll check if only 1 worker killed, and that was probably from earlier in the game, so Nadir really throwing away quite a lot of supply. As we can see, he's now down by 21. That was quite a lot of Lings for what he was trying to do, but the cancel on the Spire is kind of nice, as he does get 3 Spore Crawlers forced out from his opponent, and it does look like he even made an extra Queen. Yeah, he has 4 already. Oh, actually, he forced out quite a few Spore Crawlers, so 6 in total, so that Spire cancellation, even though it set him back, actually set his opponent back probably even more for his mid-game push. It does look like it's just going to be some Roach on Infester. +2 coming out, +1 Carapace about to finish up for Nadir. He's going to have a slight upgrade advantage, and it does look like, well, the Infester counts are almost exactly the same. 2 for 2 coming out, so it will be 6 on 6. And we do see a where is this hatchery at? It's a macro. It's a macro hatch coming out of MVP, just so we can make sure his production is up. Quite a lot of creep tumors. He's gonna start spreading for vision, just to make sure that there's no shenanigans coming through this pathway. Then he really only has to protect this area for all 3 bases. Grooved Spines should be getting upgraded from our green Zerg player, as he got the Hydra Den, and there we go, Grooved Spines, great. Nadir slowly catching up in supply, and as he does have the slight upgrade advantage, if he can get out infestors, or not infestors, hydras, excuse me, and have a nice concave set up with a good engagement, he might be able to really, really punish the lack of carapace upgrade, as his +2 is actually going to finish before +1 even does for MVP. MVP is going to have to really rely on some great fungals. Nadir is supply blocked, so that's going to allow MVP to pull ahead just a little bit farther, and it looks like he might just be going for a huge roach play, which basically, the idea is that if you can't match your opponent in the number of infestors and hydralisks, get out so many roaches before they actually get up a mass army that they just can't deal with the quantity of units. So basically max out before your opponent. Great spread from both players, just making sure that in case an engagement happens and they're not completely ready, that they will be sort of pre-prepared. Fourth coming out of MVP, along with a fourth from Nadir. Great drone count for the most part on all of these hatcheries, and we do see the pink Zerg slowly pushing forward. He does have quite a sizable army, but both of these players are actually, he's killing off his own queen to free up more supply here. And it does look like we're going to have our first engagement. Infested Terrans coming down a huge concave. Oh my god, the beach balls. So many Infested Terran. We do see Nadir slowly, oh, and now MVP remaxing on a ton of roaches. And it does look like he's going to be able to hold. It might have just been the amount of energy from his infestors. Yes, and all the roaches have died. He did not have enough of a meat shield for these hydras to keep going. And now MVP with a sizable 60 supply advantage. More roaches streaming across the map. Burrow as well from MVP. That means that he is going to be regenerating his roach's health, and that is huge. It makes these units so much more cost effective. And right now it just looks like Nadir is struggling to figure out what to do. He has so many hydras out on the field and nothing to buffer the damage with. +2 carapace finally coming out from MVP, and once he's equal on upgrade, that is really going to start punishing Nadir. It does look like he's just trying to throw away a couple roaches. Just make sure that he has that ideal army composition, as he is getting more infestors with that extra supply. Would like to see a couple roaches try and come up here and possibly snipe that off. We do see a fifth coming down from MVP, as he does know that he is slightly ahead. He has already completely saturated his fourth base, while Nadir has not. And we can see the difference in income is actually massive at this point. Even though they are on equal harvesters, he is optimally mining on 4 bases versus just 3. And it does look like we're going to have another engagement, a huge concave from MVP, and this is exactly what he needed. There's so many roaches in the back, not being able to shoot from our green Zerg player. The beach ball's going down, fungals all over the place. And, oh my gosh, the supply is now sweltering for our pink Zerg player. It does not look like Nadir is going to be able to hold this. He's trying to reinforce with Roach Hydra. A huge fungal, actually a great fungal, but I'm just not sure it's going to be enough. He has a more infested Terran, Hydra's pushing through, and he's lost most of his infestors as well, resupplying, and he's already maxed out again. +2 should finish by the time the next engagement happens. We do see Changelings just going out for scouting. A Spire on the way, as well as Hive finishing up for both players finally. We'll be interested to see if we get a little sneak peek of some Zerg late game finally. It seems to be pretty much the only matchup that really just does not go to late game. As it's usually decided because it is a mirror matchup, and one of the two players typically pulls ahead, and basically we do see a huge concave coming out here again from MVP, and oh my god, great fungal on the Hydralisks, and they're going to take so much damage. GG, well played, called out from ASG Nadir, and MVP takes this series 2-0. Been practicing much? Yes. Oh, not for a week, he says, but just started 2 days ago. And that looks like that is going to be all for this best of 3. Thank you for watching. This has been a cast from the Perth Barcraft in Switzerland. Again, please feel free to leave any sort of comments, feedback, how the casting was, if there were any problems, or if there were any things that I was doing correctly. Please check out any of these links. I am part of Sentinel Gaming, a smaller US-based community, but we do have people overseas. We do have people in Canada as well. Feel free to come and join us. We play all sorts of things from MOBAs to MMOs to RT